Friends, I had the great zechut to be in Eretz Israel. I just came back last week. And I say the great zechut because it became a great zechut to go to Israel, being that it's very difficult to fly into Israel even. It's always a zechut, but to go and support the people there, I realized that just being there, just telling people, we came from America just to be with you, it was a great way of giving chizuk to Israel. Of course, visiting soldiers and people who were displaced and all the things that are happening in Israel gave them a lot of chizuk. But as always, you give chizuk to people and you come back with more chizuk. I would like to share with you a point that is connected to this week's parasha. In this week's parasha, when Abraham Avinu realizes that his son Yitzchak is not married yet and it's time to find him a shidduch. So everybody knows the story, how he sends Eliezer to find Rivka, but the introduction to this Perek Chaf Dalet, chapter 24 in the Torah, is V'Avraham Zaken Ba Bayamim, V'Adonai Berach et Avraham Bakol. Abraham was getting old, Ba Bayamim, walking in his days were full. All the Mefarshim ask a question, is that if the Torah just came to tell us that there was a sense of urgency because Abraham was getting old, we already know that because at the story with the promise from the three angels who came to Abraham to predict that he was going to have a baby, the Torah over there in Perek Yudchet Pasuk Yudalef, Abraham v'Sarah zekenim ba'im bayamim, it already tells you that Abraham and Sarah were old, walking in the days, again, same expression. So the Mefarshim ask, why do you have to tell me again, Avraham Zaken Ba Bayamim, when you already told me Avraham v'Sarah Zakenim that they were old? Why is it necessary to repeat that they were getting old? So I saw a beautiful pshat from the Keli Yakar. The Keli Yakar says that the beracha of a person comes in two ways. The two main sources of beracha for a person are the spouse and the children. Very interesting. Being married, being with somebody, this companionship brings simcha and beracha. Having children who are in the derech HaTorah, it says, having children that you are proud of, that you see and they're espousing the same principles that you have, all the good things that you teach them become their way of life, is a tremendous amount of satisfaction, of simcha and beracha that comes to the person. The Kli Yakar points out that there's something very interesting. When people are not surrounded by this simcha and this feeling of beracha, they tend to become old, which means weary, without a sense of accomplishment, satisfaction, and happiness. And when one of these two is there, it's good, but it's not enough. When Abraham was with Sarah, prior to having the baby, the introduction to getting pregnant with Yitzchak and the birth of Yitzchak is V'Avraham v'Sarah zekenim. They were getting old because they didn't have a baby. Then they have Yitzchak Avinu. They are able to have two sources of blessing: the fact that they had a spouse and the fact that they had a baby. Okay, the next time around, what is it? Is that Sarah Imenu passes. When Sarah Imenu dies, what does the pasuk say? V'Avraham Zaken Ba Bayamim. He had his baby, he had Yitzchak Avinu, but now he doesn't have his spouse. Because he doesn't have his spouse, now he's again becoming Zaken. Beautiful pshat. Which means the only time that Abraham was not a Zaken is when he had both. When he had his spouse and when he had his child. Before that, he was considered a Zaken. Then he is rejuvenated, and then he becomes Zaken again because he lost his wife, Sarah Imenu. I saw this beautiful pshat. I mean, the text is unbelievable, but it made me think really about certain things. Yesterday, I had a meeting with somebody who has a difficult life. Difficult life. We all have our things, but this lady happened to have challenges. And I just said to this lady, you have challenges, and I respect that, of course, and we have to be sensitive to that. But I just come back from Israel. And what I saw in Israel, I just want to tell you that you have a great life. compared to what's happening there. Because Israel is aching a lot. In the news, you just see the beautiful F-15s and F-35s and blah, blah, blah. True. Thank God, Baruch Hashem, we have a strong army and okay. But in the day-to-day activities and life of the people, there's a lot of families who have lost their children, who lost their husbands, lost their businesses. You know how many reservists who are fighting hundreds of thousands, who lost their jobs, who lost their businesses? How many people? I was in a hotel, there were mefunim. Mefunim means those families that were displaced and they put together in a hotel. Every hotel has mefunim. You know how difficult it is after a year, 1 year in a hotel room. You say, oh great, you're in a 5-star hotel. Yeah, very nice. But it's not the same. You want to be home. You want to cook for your family. You want to have a regular life. They don't have basics of life. And that's what Israel is aching. I said in, the Rasha, I said, just go. Try to go, just to be there. Just to buy food. Just to buy clothing. You give support to the local economy that is so necessary. It's our home. It's our brothers and sisters, they're suffering. Just go there, tell them, I came from America just to spend time with you. You just say that, and you make their life. They're super excited. I took so many phone numbers. They say, I still can't believe you can't just say hi. It's heartwarming, but it reminds us before having any kind of complaints about life and aching and sufferings. Today we could think twice before we start having complaints. And I think this week's parasha is showing that. What makes a person happy? Having a spouse and having children. Sometimes you just need a reminder to go back to basics. Abraham is happy because he has a wife and he has children. Let's never forget that. Shabbat Shalom.